Hi, this is Woodstick. You're watching live Prog. Rock on. No, seriously, rock on.
There's a man in a cool orange t-shirt, but his yellow hair just don't match his eyes. Everybody says he's trying, but he often sits and cries. He says he's only human and cannot cope with people's indignation. He says he's great at 7/8. His 5/4 takes all his concentration.
Are you familiar with this album? Big Big Train, The Difference Machine, released in 2007. Or are you maybe familiar with this album? Black and White by Lee Abrahams, released in 2009. What about this one? Sean Filkins, War and Peace and Other Short Stories. Are you familiar with this one? Well, there's a good chance you are, because the album is out for a while. But if you're not, well, here's your chance. Now, what do Big Big Train, Lee Abrahams and Sean Filkins have in common? The vocals. Sean Filkins is one of the best prog singers around. And he sang for Big Big Train on 2 albums. He sang on Lee Abrahams' Black and White. And now he has his own solo album. You heard the first track of the album, so you have a good impression of how this album sounds. But it gets better. Because I found that Sean Filkins created an album that transcends the prog genre. We often have the idea of what a prog album should sound like. And often we'd like it if it stays within those boundaries. But once in a while there are musicians that say, well, hey, we're going to do something different. We're going to try something new, incorporate some new elements. And I'd say that is progressive. And that is what this album is. It's a very progressive album. Now, of course, as you've seen in a lot of bands, a lot of albums, that often when a singer makes a solo album, he just calls in loads of his friends, and they play on the album, and together they make something really beautiful. Well, in the case of Sean Filkins, it's no different. It turns out that he's in a sort of a cover band called the Indigo Pilots, together with, what a surprise, Mr. Lee Abrahams, and a few other guys as well, and of course all of them contributed to this album. A lot of other prog names have contributed as well, and together they made an incredible album. And I think this album is going to be a very favorite for a lot of end of year lists soon, where this album will definitely be in the top 10 and maybe even in the top 5. I don't know, but it is a stunning album. Now, if you can see the cover, you know, the back side, and what you can see here is already that we're talking here 6 tracks. Now, the first track, Are You Sitting Comfortably, is basically when you put on the album, that is the moment you have to get a drink, maybe a cup of tea, and have a seat. And as soon as you're sitting down, the album kicks off with the track you just heard, which is called The English Eccentric. Now, I mentioned that Sean Filkins transcends a bit of the prog genre here, the traditional prog things. He incorporates a lot of interesting elements, and well, as there are basically 5 tracks on the album, I'm going to open it up, and, well, they have a little more detail of who played on the tracks. You have the CD, and well, I can take it out, and then well, you have the same picture as the front cover. The cover, by the way, was done by Mr. Paul Tippett. You also may know him from Dag Burke, Destroy All Monsters, also another great cover. Now, what you see here is that the 5 songs, there are long songs in it. There are 2 songs that are around 20 minutes. So they're real epics here, and they are so beautiful and so fantastic to listen to. To give you an example of the different styles in one song. Here's a bit of a collage from Prisoner of Conscience Part 1, The Soldier. And listen to the different styles that Sean Filkins put in this one song and how well they blend. And if you, of course I'm going to let you listen to a part of it, but if you listen to the full 20 minutes, you will hear how well this is blended into one beautiful song. That. Now, let's take a quick look to the cover. And then the first picture you'll see is this one. And it's not that common that an artist gives himself, well, puts his soul bare like this. But yes, it's Mr. Sean Filkins. Really. Well, here's more artwork. The artwork is very, it gives out the atmosphere of the album, which I like very much. Him again. Artwork is really good. I love it very much, especially this one. I think this one speaks for itself. Now, War and Peace and Other Short Stories is not a concept album. However, Sean made it, made the themes connect to each other. And as I said, the song I played you, Prisoner of Conscience, Part 1, there's a Part 2 as well, which is called The Ordinary Man. And then we have another fantastic song, which is called Epitaph for a Mariner, which is a little over 20 minutes. I'm not going to name all the musicians involved in the album because, well, there are a lot of them, and I'd say buy this album and find out for yourself. When you listen to the music, especially because he put in a lot of long songs, a lot of epic songs, it's a real challenge to make them interesting, to keep them interesting. And I think Sean Filkins definitely succeeded in that. He created beautiful music that keeps you listening over and over again. I've listened to this album many times, and a lot of them in the train, and I completely lost track of time. You can really lose yourself in a good way in this music. And well, I'd say mission accomplished. For me, that is important. If you can lose yourself in the music, if you can forget the world around you and enjoy what you hear. That is something that is absolutely evident in this album. Now, there's not much more to say. You gotta buy this album. I can't put it any simpler, because this is something you should have in your collection. It's a stunning album. The songs are crafted very good, with a lot of passion, with a lot of love for the music, with a lot of talent. The musicians that worked on it are amazingly good. So all I can do is just play you another piece of music, and that's going to be the last piece of music, and of course it's going to be of the last track, which is called Learn How to Learn. That's a title I like, you know, gives you something to think about. So enjoy, Sean Filkins, and thank you for watching liveprog.com.